Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Ife. I film from Lagos State, Nigeria, and on this channel I talk about faith, I talk about relationship, and I also talk about real life issues. Today I have a special guest. I have a special guest here. To me see Oye Rinde. Did I get it?
You got it.
We have known each other. We have been friends since
20.
I don't know. It has been long.
I think 2016. No, it wasn't
No, not 2016. No,
it was when I was in 200 level.
That's me. I'll be in 300
level. Yes.
That's 2013.
13.
Yes, 2013. Yeah.
2013.
We have been friends in 2013. Went to the same universities. We're in the same faculty. Blah blah blah.
Same department.
Same department. So we shall connect one way or the other, and we are here. She's a content creator, so if you have job for us, we are open.
Yeah.
She also has like a travel brand called Vibe
Trippers,
where they create different kind of travel experiences, and it's amazing. She also used to be a bridal hairstylist. I don't know if that one is still in a JJD, but she has given up on that one. But she also used to be a bridal hairstylist, Otitress. And I just want to welcome you and thank you for coming. So
thank you very much for having me.
You can introduce yourself.
After all the introduction you done, please, enough of it. She has done all the introductions already. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we are going to be talking about navigating childhood trauma or childhood hurt. But before we do that, please do also subscribe to this channel. Turn up your post notifications so you get inspired when we post a new video. Please like, comment, and share this video so that other people
enjoy. Please help us like, subscribe, comment on our videos, please. Thanks and God bless.
Thank you. We are begging. We are not doing shakara. Okay, so today, Tomisi, we are talking about something that is very sensitive, but something that is very necessary.
Yeah.
And I just want you to give us a background story on your childhood experiences and how the whole story and everything in between.
Okay. Hello everybody. Nice to be here. So as regards my childhood, I had a very, very interesting childhood. Interesting. I don't remember so many things that happened in my childhood, but there are some very, very, very key things that I remember. That stood out for me, and that is affecting at large the way I relate to people today, the way I see things, the way I behave, and all of those things. So I think that's the one we're going to be focusing on for this video. So as regards childhood and childhood trauma, I grew up in a setting where I think I would use the word felt neglected. So I have just one sibling, so we're just two, and then my mom and my dad. I would say my dad was not properly present in my life, but I mean, I don't know how to put this. I mean, you are the man, you go out and go and find daily bread, and then it's you understand, and it's just the children and most times their mom. So I would say I had to relate more with my mom on many different occasions. So one particular thing that stood out for me in my childhood was I remember that at some point, I think if I check my house today, that's my father's house because I'm not staying in my father's house. If I check my father's house today and my room, I'm sure I'll find one note like this that I wrote to my mom that I wanted to give her, but I didn't eventually give her. And that note was me pouring out my heart. I wrote there that I did not like her, that I hated her, that she did plenty things, and I wrote everything inside her paper. My plan was to go and shook it through her door and give her, but I didn't eventually do that. So in talking about neglect, there were times that I would ask my mom for stuff. I would tell her to, as in really simple things actually, like maybe just give me I want to use a laptop, or I need money for something. And on many occasions, not once, not twice, she would just dismiss that. And if my brother asks, she's going to give it to him. Okay. And I mean, anybody that hears that would be like, that's what is there, move on and all of that. But I mean, I was still a child, and these things kept on happening over and over and over again. And at some point, it started to affect the way I saw myself, because I started feeling like, oh, this woman does not like me. That, are you sure this woman is my mother like this? This woman does not like me. I felt very lonely. Let me put it that way, right?
Sorry,
And
I just want to cut you. You know, like, okay, this woman doesn't like me. I'm not sure this woman is my mother. I think like it's a general phrase. It's every African child.
Yeah.
At a point in time, it starts to doubt like if this woman is really your mother. So from what you said, is it like there was like was it okay? Me, I used to say my mom is not my mommy because she used to shout a lot. Like she used to beat us when we are stubborn. Although my brother used to say you cannot beat her, but if she catch me, she beat me. So was it more than just the shouting and the like spanking you?
So it was
being naughty or something.
It was a whole lot, right? I mean, I was going to get there, from communication to conflict resolution. It's now that I even know how these things should look like normal, how to have normal conversations, how to have good conflict resolution. My mom is the person that if you offend her, she's not going to blank out on you. She's going to give you silent treatment. You're trying to talk to her, she's not responding to you. And as much as these things seem trivial, right, I noticed that they affect the way you relate with the outside world. Do you understand? Because you get to meet people. I mean, you've lived somewhere the whole of your life where this is how certain things are done. So you get to go and relate to the outside world, relate to people, and you have issues with somebody, but you cannot communicate it properly to the person because you didn't grow up in an environment that this is how you are supposed to. So it was very, very while I was growing up, I didn't see it as an issue, to be honest, until I had to start relating with people, and I realized that these things that I'm doing is causing issues with people. Is as bad as somebody does something to me. I don't even want to have the conversation. Not because I don't want to, but I don't even know how to have the conversation with the person. So I just zone out of that relationship, like whether platonic or romantic. I just zone out. I'm not talking to the person. I'm not saying anything. The person is trying to talk to me, trying to ask what's the issue. I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to talk, and it just ends there. So there was communication issues. There was the part of feeling neglected. There was the part of shouting, like, okay, you do something and try explain to me what I do. You don't have to be shouting at each other. You don't have to be. So let me use my dad now in that context. If you offend my dad will correct you. So it's the perfect example of chastise with love.
Okay.
He will correct you, and once you are done, once he has beaten you, once he has finished punishing you, the next minute is laughing with you. Okay. Because he has made you understand that, okay, this thing that you did, I've punished you for it, and that's the end. My mommy, 1 week, she's still carrying face up and down in the house.
She will not talk to you.
She will not talk to you. You are trying to talk to her to ask her for something, or just random good morning. She can just answer like if she wants and God, you praise, you thank God for your life. And it's very funny because at some point I figured that these things are toxic, and I don't want to act out that same way. But I don't know. I think it's a psychological thing. I don't know. I've not done research, so I can't say. But it's just funny how it's those seemingly bad habits that you just absorb. And then before you know it, you just find yourself replaying those things. I mean, you are living with somebody and you can't communicate properly with the person, you can't relate properly with the person, and all of those things. So
from what you have said, it's a story of neglect, or quote and unquote kind of emotional abuse where you are not talking to your child. You're making one child feel like I prefer you to the other one.
Exactly. I remember very well that at some point I even started resenting my brother.
Yeah, I was going to get to that question.
I started resenting my brother. I started comparing myself with him. That am I not? Shame me to him. No, okay, some money. Like why? I just felt like, I know as kids we had needs, and when it feels like those needs are not met, you feel neglected. You feel left. So most times I was just withdrawn, right? So you would most likely just see me in my room. I don't want to talk to anybody in the house. I don't want, because I just felt like this was not where, here. This is not where I'm supposed to be. Nobody likes me here. And that affected the way I related with people. I got into school, I got into boarding house, and I started having unnecessary mood swings. Like, I don't even know why I'm having mood swing.
Okay, so I want to ask you a question. This whole drama that happened at home,
Yeah.
of neglect and all of that, how did it affect your, how did it impact your self-esteem growing up?
It shambled it. Honestly, it shambled it because, I mean, like I mentioned, I already had that mindset that nobody likes me, nobody wants to relate to me. So at the slightest, like if I'm relating with people outside my family members, if I'm relating with people, at the slightest shift in the dynamics of the relationship, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Oh, here we are again. Nobody likes me. This person doesn't like me. This person, and even when the person does not even have any motive or any issue, I just start overthink that, oh, this, and the next thing I just do is just to withdraw.
Shut down.
I just shut down, withdraw, start. Okay, since you don't like me, let me just be on my own, and I play it out, and then the person, maybe obviously the person is not plan to hurt me in any way, but because I already have that mindset that, oh, nobody likes me, nobody wants to relate to me, nobody just wants to be with me, I just shut out. And then when the person eventually comes back and maybe just trying to relate with me on a normal level, I've already shut the person out, and I don't want to have anything to do with you. Let's just make everybody just do that.
So this preference kind of stuff, you have already mentioned that it allowed you to have like a form of resent towards your brother. So I want to ask that, how did you, I don't know how to put the question properly, but how has this affected your relationship with your brother now? Because the reason why I'm asking is because we see that even now parents tend to compare their children to one another, and even like our own generation, not even people that are just parents, and people that are just new parents. I think that this is a eye pointer for you. Please don't compare your children with one another. But people that have been compared before and are struggling or are still in that bubble, what do you have to say? And how did it affect your relationship with your brother? Number one, then how did you now navigate that side? Yes.
So it got worse over the years, because I mean, it did not stop. Like everything that had been happening from when I was little, the similarly to asking my mommy for something and she not giving me, it did not stop. It got worse. At some point I even felt like it even got, like she was doing it to my face. When, okay, if I ask her for, maybe I'm inside a room and I ask her for something, let me use the laptop again, for example. I don't know why I'm using the laptop, but I think a laptop. No, I think I actually remember that happening. Like, I remember a time when I really needed to do something on a laptop, and I asked her for a laptop and she didn't give me. And maybe I went into my room and I came back and then I saw my brother using it, and I'm like,
but I asked this man for my laptop.
Do you get? So I think that's like one reason why that one is like stuck in my head. So at some point, they were doing it to my face. At least that's how it felt. Like, both of us can be together like this, and I'm asking Momsi for something. She just dismisses whatever it is, and my brother just comes from nowhere and she just give it to him. So it got worse over the years, basically. And I mean, obviously that also meant that my resentment towards my brother got worse. Me feeling neglected got worse. So it just felt like over the years the feelings got more intensified. And I also remember one point where Momsi, so this whole I mean, my mom is a very traditional mother. She's an African parent. So this whole issue of cooking also made matters worse.
House chores.
Do you get? So I mean, to be honest, this does never have anything to do with feminism. I've just been that person rather from when I was little. It just didn't make sense to me that you have 2 kids and you want to put all the burden of house chores on one kid. So I always had that fight with my mom. She was always telling me, it's me that I'm supposed to cook. I'm supposed to wake up by 5 a.m. Cook, do this, do that. And I'm like, my brother is supposed to be doing what? Sit down there like the king and not do anything. I'm sorry, that cannot work. So we always had that issue. We always had that fight. So anytime my brother does seemingly little things, like maybe there's one plate in the kitchen and he washes it, they will praise him. That one will get to me. I'm like,
What's going on here?
What do you understand? So it really affected our relationship, and at some point, I mean, I also started playing out the resentment towards him. Like, it was obvious that I did not like this guy. You would like care for anything, and I don't know is what it was from his own end as well. But I mean, at some point, it was obvious that the relationship between both of us was very, very fictional, right? So it's just now that we're trying to patch things up, because our relationship was nothing to write home about. Please remind me of the second question again.
So if like there's somebody that is going through that and the person just feels like my parents like this my sibling more than me, and I just hate this my sibling, what do you want to tell the person? I mean, what do you have to tell that person?
To be honest, I think first of all, your feelings are valid, right? Because the truth is, as kids, we have needs. I mean, when you see even toddlers, when you see toddlers trying to get attention from their parents, and you hear things like, oh, they're throwing tantrums, because they have a need. They want to feel like, as little as they are, they understand. They understand that there's attention and love. And if a toddler grows up in a kind of environment where every time they want the attention, they don't get it, they would later on in life they will start feeling that kind of way. Like, so the feeling is valid. But if you grow up in that kind of environment, there's nothing you want to do about it. I mean, you've already grown up there. There's really nothing you can do about it. You just have to, at some point when you grow up, because again, for people like my age, we are just getting aware about all of these things. We read books, you see things, you try to manage your emotions properly. You know that, okay, now you're a grown-up person. You cannot be putting your emotional needs on people, and you have to like work on yourself. But for like the younger generation, I want to believe that they'll be like exposed to more of these things earlier. So it's probably easier for them to, I don't know, but I'm just saying, it's probably easier for them to navigate. But if you're like our own age range, there's nothing you want to do. You just would like work on yourself, understand that your parents were not able to cater for your emotional needs, and it has happened, that's fine. Your sibling in question that you are resenting because of your your parents' lack of creating the needs that you wanted, you don't have choice. It's not their fault. Really, it's not their fault.
Of the problem.
Yeah, they're not the cause of the problem. So you have to also let go of it's hard. Let me put that disclaimer. It's very hard, but you have to let it go, because if not, you just keep carrying burden that you're not supposed to be carrying for the rest of your life, and it's not worth it.
So do you feel like if your mom knew better, she would do better? Or let's put it like this. How? Okay, because I still see videos of you and your mom doing videos and all of that. And now looking at like what you said and trying to relate the image now, because some people can't even forgive their parents. Like, they're like, this woman is cancelled for life and all of that. So what steps did you take to extend that grace to your mom, that you feel like this person can do? Like, you feel like, oh, if I tell you to do this thing, you can do, and it will help you. Do you understand? What steps did it take you to extend that grace? Do you feel like if your mom knew better, she would do better? Or what do you feel?
So, to be honest about that, doing video with my mom, there was a time that I did not have anything to do with her. Like, there was that point. I remember
so your feeling is valid.
I remember one point that there was one time my mom was very sick, and I did not. I mean, I was still living in my father's house then. I did not send her. Like, in my mind, I was like, it was that bad. I remember my dad calling me to my room that day. I've been to his room that day. I know he started talking. He was like, what's even if your mom is a witch? Like, yeah, she's your mother. What did she do for you to deserve, all of these things? And he was talking that day. I didn't want to talk. But at some point, I didn't even know when I just burst out. And I'm like, she's not acting like my mother. She's not kiniko. This. I'm sure my dad was just like, yeah? Where is this coming from? She gets. And that was because I'd bottled up a whole lot. I mean, like I said, all of those feelings kept on intensifying. So, and it just felt like she didn't even know that she was doing anything. She was just acting so normal. I'm like, yeah, you're freaking hurting me every time. Like, every time. And that day, I just burst out, and I was just telling my daddy everything. I was just lamenting and talking. I don't know, I can't remember what the end of that conversation is, But I also remember one time as well that it was her birthday and I didn't wish her happy like we're in the same house. I know I saw her that morning. I just tell her good morning. I carry face. Like I'm just trying to give you a scenario. There was actually a time that I did not want to have anything to do with her. Like this woman, don't do. Let me just leave this house when I married. But thank God I had to leave before I married her.
Yeah.
So I think at some point I just realized that I mean I've never had the conversation of how their childhood went.
Okay.
But when at the point where I figured that the things that I'm complaining about in my mom, I'm already seeing those traits in myself.
Okay.
That was when it started to occur to me that in the real sense of it, this thing is actually cycle.
Maybe circle, okay.
Right. So it's also possible that was the kind of environment she grew up in, and that's what she's actually playing out. I also told myself that these people cannot change. My mom is going to be how old in June. So these people, I mean, it's too late for them to start saying, oh, I want to work on myself. And maybe they can, but it's going to be very hard. Because even me that I'll be 27 this year, I left my father's house when I was 25. So imagine having to live 25 years of your life in that kind of environment. It's not
something
to change. Exactly, it's not something that's going to happen like that. So I think I started to realize that this thing actually could be something that because really somebody does not just wake up one morning and act all of those things. It's probably something they've been exposed to. So I'm like, maybe that's how she also grew up. That's the environment she grew up in. And I mean, right now, the most important thing is for me to work on my own self and make sure that I don't repeat that cycle for my kids, because I don't want, I think that's one fear that I constantly have. My kids having to also sit down like this with somebody later in their life and be telling them story of their life that this is the kind of environment they grew up in. They grew up in a very toxic environment. I don't think I want that for myself and my kids. So right now I'm just focused on myself, working better to become a better person in general. I mean, if I'm a better person, I'll be a better mom. So to become a better person in general, and I think I just extended that grace that okay to my mom that as well, that maybe that's how our childhood was as well. So
I just like to say that if you grew up in a kind of toxic environment as a child, everybody understands that you are hot and your feelings are actually valid. But however, what has happened, and the more you hold these grudges and bitterness, the person you are angry with might not even be angry, might not even know that they did anything. Do you understand? Right. So you are the one that is facing that hurt and carrying that bitterness around. So what I like to advise you is that let go, and just like she said, try and work on yourself to become a better person, because when you're a better person, you can give more value to the people. So you have already established the fact that you had like self-esteem issues, and there was neglect at home. So you see that most people that feel neglected and don't feel like somebody loves me or somebody values me, it's easy for people to deceive them outside. So they can, anybody that shows them like a bit of love, they are very open. And that's when you see people like get pregnant, people like fall for like very trivial things. So how do you think that this affected your decisions?
Decisions in what way?
Maybe romantic decisions, maybe just generally, maybe peer pressure. I want everybody to like me, so you see people doing this thing, you try and do it, even if you know that it's outside your value, because you just wanted to feel that I can also be loved kind of feeling. So did it affect like any decision you took or have taken, romantic or just generally in life?
So for romantic, let's start with that. I don't think, looking at the people that I've dated, I don't think that so for me, I have this battle in my head, right? I know that yes, the self-esteem issues stem from these childhood traumas and all that, but then there's just somewhere in my head where I know that I recognize my identity, I recognize my worth, right? And there's also somewhere in my head where sometimes I just feel like I don't have worth. So it's like a battle, right? And I don't know, maybe that's a good thing, because at least sometimes it makes me to have sex. So even when a guy, like talking romantically now, even when a guy comes my way and all that, there's still that level of I can't settle for less, right?
Okay.
And I so you know, people have different trauma responses, right? There are people that because of that kind of environment, the way, I mean, for somebody else that grew up in the same environment I grew up in, they probably respond a different way than I respond, right?
Yeah, true.
So for some people, that kind of neglect might make them want to just be in everybody's faces because they want to feel accepted. For some people, they just feel like everybody does not like them, so they withdraw from everybody. So I think for me, it just made me want to not be with any kind of man. Like
you shaped your decision
yeah.
to pick somebody above your standards,
yeah,
like quote unquote, so you do better for yourself.
Yeah, and so I can't settle for less, right? So I think that's that for romantic. For friendship in general, there are times that I've done certain things that just to make people like me, like, hello, I'm here. Ah, God, it's crazy. Like, guys, see me, I'm here. And but there are times when I'm like, what's it? Everybody will be fine. Honestly, I think for friendship in general, it has been crazy because there are so many times I want to like make people realize that I exist. I
can also be loved.
Like
I
can also be loved. Do
being.
you understand? Just because you feel like naturally nobody just loves you or nobody just likes you.
You established the fact that your dad liked you and all of that. So why is it that it's the trauma of your mom that is more?
So you know that's why I mentioned
having your memory than the love of your dad.
That's what I mentioned the other time. Like, my dad was not. I won't say he was not present, but
he was not mostly
emotionally. We did not. There was no. Yeah, there was no relation. We didn't relate on that emotional level.
Okay.
So it was just more of because I remember a few times my dad would come. He will come back from work, we'll go and greet him outside, collect his load. It was also those random yeah, it wasn't, we didn't have, I mean, my dad is a very, I say this a lot, my dad is a very emotional intelligence person, right? And again, that's what I mentioned the other time, that I don't know whether it's psychological, because it just feels like the bad things,
memories,
the ones that tend to stick,
they magnify the more and just
than the good ones. Because it's not like as if I have many good memories as regards my dad, but I mean, from looking at how my life is playing out right now, the toxic part is obviously the ones that have taken me on chokeholds.
Okay, now that you said toxic, you know that, let's say it's a relationship, or let's say it's like a friendship, or it's easy to break free from a toxic relationship. I'm not money again. But you know, you cannot stay out of, like, your parents and your family. They cannot stand out of your way. They're always in your faces, kind of. So how has this affected how you look at them? You know, some people are going home and they're very happy. Oh, I'm going to be home. My mom, my dad is. You know, people say, what best mom, what best dad. Everybody's dad is what best dad, and what best mom. But how has this affected your image towards your parents?
Let me first start with how it affected the image. So first of all, I don't know how these things work, but there's just something with family bond.
Yeah.
For the longest time, for people that have known me for quite a while, actually, for the longest time, I did not used to rate family. I think I even used to put it out there that family is overrated, and that's because of the obvious reasons, right? But I think as you grow up, you just realize that life is life.
Happens. Guys, move on.
To be honest, you just realize that life is life, and as much as you say, see, at the end of the day, family is very important. I know it feels like I'm contradicting myself, but because there are times when there are situations you find yourself in that you realize that it's just family at the end of the day. Only if you have like really, really, really deep rooted friends that can come through for you in some situations, you realize that at the end of the day it's just family. So I think when you realize that, to also help you, or maybe that's what also helps me to just say at this point it is what it is. I mean, what has happened, well, we gotta move on. And honestly, again, I think leaving the house also helped me, because the way I left too, I just packed my bag and baggages. I say I'm not doing it again. Honestly, I'm not doing it again. So I think that also helps me, because I was no longer in that environment. So that was like a win on his own. Like, okay, at least we've left this environment first. Now let's now start working on ourselves.
Okay. And you mentioned that you left the house, and that was like the first way to break off from the trauma.
Yeah.
So
maybe not break off from the trauma, but break off from that environment.
The circle. Yeah. Okay, break off from the circle. So have you sought like therapy or resources? What resources have you been using? Because you see that some people, they are going through so much at home, and they end up drinking or smoking because they just want to drown that emotion. So what has your own coping mechanism been, and what resources have helped you? Show mom go.
I don't do it. Please. I don't do it.
She knows to drink and smoke.
No, I don't do it.
Yeah, what's your coping mechanism?
So I think the first thing is my friends, really, because I remember there was a point in my life where I leave the house in the morning. That's when I was staying at home. I leave the house in the morning and I don't come back till late in the night. And I'll come back home now and they are vexing. Please let me go to where my head will be safe. Because if I continue to stay in this house, there's tendency that things will go south. So I had friends that they were helpful, like community of friends that were really, really helpful. And then at some point, like I mentioned earlier, when it became too overwhelming, I had to leave. And again, thanks to friends that could help me navigate that, because it was a very tough time. I was practically unstable. Like practically unstable. I know how I was also pissed, I was angry, I was frustrated, because you know that you have, be like prodigal son. You know you have your father's house, you know there's food, you know there's everything, but you are there, the environment is not accommodating. So it was a very terrible time, but I had friends again, and I'm very grateful. Shout out to all of you if you watch this video. Then what else? What was the other question?
Have you searched like what are the resources, therapy, or anything?
Yeah. So for therapy, first of all, therapy is very expensive.
Very expensive. Oh, your Jesus side. Jesus is your number one therapist.
Honestly, it's terrible that therapy is expensive. I don't know if it's also like that outside Nigeria, but in this country, how many people can afford therapy in the real sense of it? So, but luckily, I started therapy recently. One of my friends somebody did a giveaway through our channel, and I applied for the giveaway, and I won a couple of therapy sessions with that particular mental health brand. So yeah, therapy.
How's therapy been?
So I've done only one session so far, and it wasn't bad. At least the session I had made me understand a couple of things more as to why I do certain things and all that stuff. So yeah. Another thing that has really helped has been I won't say books, because I don't exactly like reading.
Funny enough, this guy had one book club before, and I joined that book club. Don't be saying alpha, she never replied me.
Moving on.
We'll come to that, so moving on.
So but I read up a couple of stuff online.
Like articles.
Articles. Then there are some mental health persons that I'm following on Twitter. There's one particular woman that I'm following on Twitter that I can't remember her name now, but she's been really helpful. I mean, basically, she makes you understand, because there are many people that are doing certain things. I don't even know why. Let's move first start from the why they are doing certain things. So, going through that woman's tweets makes me understand. Okay, this thing that you're doing, this is the root cause, and I think that's that is very important. Like, let's even first start from the root cause. Let's know what exactly is making you behave in certain ways or do certain things and all that. So
is this childhood hurt, is it more of did it mess more with your emotions or your mental health?
Everything is intertwined. Yeah. So I mean, it messes with your emotions, and one way. Because if relating with people is a whole lot.
Yeah.
So if your relationship with people is not right, it would mess. Yeah, it will mess your
like I was telling you before, like I'm happy that your story is ending well and we end well in Jesus'
Amen.
name. Because somebody else might have gone through what you went through, and the person might have taken it the wrong way. Like you see, maybe people that are struggling with teenage pregnancy, people that boys that are doing drugs and all of that, you see that sometimes you can trace it down to their childhood environment. So
True.
I'm actually very happy for you. At least this is one win for you.
Thank you.
One win.
Honestly, what you just said now, just because there are people that, I mean, in a bit to just leave the house. Like all that time, I'm saying I'm going home, I'm going to my friend's place. Just in a bit to just leave the house and just go anywhere. They'll go and start get introduced to different things.
Marry somebody just to leave this environment. Just do this thing
that
because
one,
I want to leave
that marriage own.
Yes, like so I'm actually happy
that marriage own.
I'm happy that like you are taking deliberate steps to healing, and you do not actually you do not allow the old trauma to take a negative toll on you, kind of. So I think everybody should celebrate something. She deserves to be celebrated.
Thank you.
So what advice, just like wrap up, what advice would you give parents, like somebody that has gone through this childhood trauma? What advice would you give parents, like just generally, especially like our generation that people are just starting to have children? And what advice would you give parents?
I don't know if I have advice for parents, but I know that generally, because I've never been a parent, so I don't think I have like the perfect advice for parents. But I think generally, I would say that first of all, healing is not sprint. It's not sprint.
No, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's gradual. It's a process, and healing is tough. I don't bother trying to mince words, because that's what it is. Healing is tough. It's just like someone that is trying to recover from addiction, right? Someone that's been smoking for 25 years of their lives, and then they want to stop. It's not going to stop in one day now. So right?
The effects will still be showing once in a while.
So I mean, there are times when there are certain things. I posted something yesterday and I said my emotions didn't win today. That's a win. Like that meant a whole lot to me, because another thing that this whole thing has caused is me not knowing how to manage my emotions properly. So you see that emotional tantrum, I sabi throw am well. So healing is not it doesn't just happen. I mean, whatever it is you are trying to heal from, the traumas, the hurts, the everything, there are things that you've lived with for a reasonable number of years. So you cannot just unlearn. Do you understand? You cannot just unlearn all of those things. So just if you are in the process of healing, take your time, give yourself grace. It's very important. Give yourself grace, because understand that whatever it is you learned for someone like me now, I keep telling myself that whatever it is I've learned in 25 years, I can't unlearn it in 2 years. Because I'm saying 2 years because that's like, in the real sense of it, I won't even say it's up to 2 years, because it's not immediately I left my father's house I started the journey of healing. But I'll just say, okay, whatever I learned rather in 25 years, I can't unlearn it in just 2 years. And one very, very, very important thing also is to surround yourself with people that are understanding, like very understanding, people that won't judge you, like people that you can express certain ways that you're feeling to, and they will understand that you're not just doing this because you feel like doing it. They understand where you're coming from, right? And it's very important, because you can't do as much as the process of healing is something that you have to do personally. Like you have to be the one that is intentional about it. You have to be the one that when your emotions wants to go this way, you have to correct yourself and tell yourself that no, your emotion is not going to take over. Do you understand? It's also very important to have people, like surround yourself with people that can help you through the process. So again, enjoy your healing process. It's tough, but you have to you have to go through it. I'm still healing, but we have to all go through it, because we want to be better people. I mean, as long as you want to be a better person. Yeah, if you don't want to be a better person, you can.
Well, she said she doesn't have advice for parents, but I think I do. And one thing I would like to say to parents, or our parents' generation that they have gone. But one thing I would like to say to our generation is that if you don't heal, you will not be able to deal well with your children.
Yeah.
So if you also have gone through things that has actually scarred you emotionally, mentally, it might not be your family, it might be from your journey throughout life. Please try and heal from it. Try and be intentional.
Honestly,
about
I don't even
healing
think.
process.
Sorry, I don't even think you should be in a relationship.
Wait.
If you, so it's very dicey, right? It's very dicey because, like I said, for me now, if I'm supposed to calculate when I would be totally healed, I don't even. It's a process. So I don't even think the next 5-10 years I will have healed. But I think the major factor there is that the person that is broken understands that, okay, I'm broken. That's the first step.
That
And
something is wrong. Something is fundamentally
and you
wrong.
can see that, okay, this person is actually putting the efforts to become a better person,
Yeah.
right? When you've gotten to that phase, you can now start. But if you've not even found out what the problem, you shall know that
Yeah, sure, somehow.
you don't. There's not even need for it to be a relationship. Not to talk of marrying, not to
And
talk of giving
birth
birth
to
to
children.
So yeah.
Okay, so thank you. I think we have come to the end of this story. And one thing I want us to take out from here is that where you are coming from doesn't necessarily have to determine the outcome of your life. Like I said to you, your situation might have gone worse.
Yeah.
You might have taken terrible decisions simply because where you are coming from. You might even take terrible decisions because you feel like, I want to hurt my mother.
Yeah.
Do you know some people do that? I just want to do it so that at least it will pain her that maybe you did this thing to me, but you didn't allow that to like envelope you and make your life to go south. So where you are coming from does not necessarily have to determine where you will be or who you are, but it takes intentionality from you to become the person you dream of. Do you understand? So
yeah.
Thank you so much, Tomisi. I hope this
you.
encourages somebody. If you have gone through childhood hurt, if you feel neglected, if you feel like you grew up in a toxic environment, we see you. We are sorry on behalf of your parents. You can always reach out to Vibe Trippers.
Yes.
Since she's on that journey, she can help you. Maybe
Yes.
I'm telling her, like, in direction of purpose, she can help you. She can help you, so reach out to her. So thank you. Reach out to her. Oh, I'm not joking. Reach out to her. She will help you because she has worked that journey.
Walking the journey.
And she's still walking that journey. But at least you are better than someone that hasn't started at all. So
yeah.
you can help them to navigate. So thank you. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe to my
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.